every time celebrities and creators and their teams are thinking about launching their own brands, I'm often one of the first people that they reach out to.
Meet Scott Van Der Berg. He's helped raise over $25 million for startups and invested in global icons like Selena Gomez, Jake Paul, and even DJ Khaled. But here's the crazy part. Scott had zero background in the creator economy when he started. So how did he go from outsider to partnering up with some of the biggest names on the planet and turning attention into millions of dollars in revenue? In today's episode, Scott breaks it all down. If you want to make insane money as a creator, you're going to want to watch this until the end. Well, Scott, welcome to the 1 of 10 podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, likewise. We're going to talk everything about creator economy. It's going to be fun.
Let's do it.
How do you even get in touch with the biggest creators in the world, like Jake Paul, Selena Gomez, DJ Khaled? Those are like insane names. So how do you get to that?
Yeah, so oftentimes you're initially not directly in contact with them. So you're like dealing with like the person who's like co-founding the business together with one of these celebrities, or you're in touch with their like talent manager or whatsoever, because they're in charge of most of the business side, and I'm dealing with the business side of these celebrities. But in the process, like as you along, like you progress, then you obviously also want to meet like the celebrity or creator, because you want to find out like what is their personal mission, what is their ambition, like why are they like excited about what they're doing, to see if you want to back them. So oftentimes only later on they're involved in the process. But it's really important for us. There's instances where also celebrities are reaching out to us directly, but they are like typically a little bit more business savvy. They're, for example, on LinkedIn. So I've got a decent sized audience on LinkedIn and I create a lot of content there. So some celebrities find me through that. And then I would say, like, if you don't have the access that I have, because I've been working with most of these talent management agencies and like business partners for the last 5 years. So there's already like a working relationship. But if you have to build that from the ground up, what is great is that kind of the top 10% of the creators and celebrities, people that can really move the needle for businesses, they are often managed by like 20 or like 30 talent management agencies. So if you're in touch with UTA or CAA or Live Nation or WME, you only have to get one access point, and that gives you access to hundreds of talents. So instead of having to build relationships with every single celebrity, you can kind of like get in touch with all of them at the same time. And yeah, it's really like also about like building relationships and word of mouth. Like if you work together with one celebrity and like the partnership is going well, they're always more than happy to refer you to others. So that's kind of how I got into the industry. But it took me 5 years of relationship building.
First, I want to understand, like, let's say with Jake Paul, right? The better deal. So I saw they raised $100 million, which is insane. I'm wondering how do you start from zero here? Like who starts conversation? Like what's the step-by-step process?
Yeah, so there's two types of buckets. So there's like one bucket, which is like the celebrity or creator already has their own ID. And by the way, I'm going to use the word celebrity or creator all the time, but they're kind of the same. So yeah. I'm just talking about people that have influence, whether they're like creators, influencers, athletes, actors, musicians, whoever has an audience. So they have an ID and they want to execute on that. So yep. Mr. Beast wants to launch his own chocolate brand. So what he does, he's searching for the right team who can help him build that company from the ground up. So are there people who have in the past launched their own consumer brands or even like a chocolate bar company? He did that with that RX bar. He got a lot of folks from that company who launched like a better for you, like organic bar, and was very successful. So he onboarded that people because they literally been there and done that. That's one bucket. So it's like the creator or celebrity has the ID and they're now searching for the right co-founding team. Maybe they already have that person in their network. Maybe they're searching, recruiting other people, and then they build it together. Then you have a second bucket, which is there's already existing startups that are not founded by a celebrity or creator co-founded, but we think that they could benefit from one. Because they have a really great product, but they struggle maybe a little bit with distribution, or they could like accelerate the distribution. So we help them on board such a celebrity co-founder, and then the company scales. So let me give an example here. Everyone is probably familiar with the actor Ryan Reynolds. So in 2006, there was a gin company founded called Aviation Gin, already in 2006. Then in 2018, Ryan Reynolds was like in a bar and he had like a gin tonic, and he loved the gin. So he went back to like the bartender and said like, what is this gin? Because it's so good. And then people were like, the bartender was like, oh, that's Aviation Gin. So he reached out to Aviation Gin, and I was like, I love your product. I would love to take like an equity stake in your company and then scale the brand. So he took like a 25% equity stake in that company. And then 2 years later, it was the fastest growing gin brand in the United States because he really started to promote it and talk about it. And then later on, like in 3 years' time, they sold it for $610 million to Diageo. And in that process, it could be both ways, right? This is then Ryan Reynolds coming across the product and then reaching out to the company wanting to do an equity deal. But it can also be the other way around. It's like a company that would love to find like a celebrity or creator. Then they reach out to us and they're like, hey, do you happen to know someone who could be a good fit? And then we help them onboard such a person. So there's kind of like different variations in this industry.
And more specifically, the better deal, how did that start? Do you know the origins and how you got into it?
Yeah, so Joey Levy, the CEO, he started like multiple like successful companies in the gambling industry before. So he's a deep expertise in the space. And then he got in contact with like Jake Paul, and they were like, hey, we should do something together, because Jake Paul has always been talking about like placing bets on his own like boxing matches and that type of stuff, where he was like, oh, I'm going to give you a Rolex if I beat you, or I'm going to give you $1 million or whatever. So it was just a natural like a fit. So then they just partnered up and say, hey, let's build this company together. So they kind of found each other already from day one. It was not like Joey was already building this. It was just like a coincidence. It was like, hey, I see a big opportunity in this space. You, in the case of Joey, has like a lot of experience in the betting industry and creating these types of companies. And Jake has the audience, like younger guys who are all like into sports and betting and media. So let's actually partner up and create like a $1 billion company together.
And the Selena Gomez one, for example, how did that start?
So Selena Gomez is very interesting because she's like the second most followed person in the world. And although like acting and performing and like all the other stuff that she does helped her to build her audience, it was actually company building that brought her most wealth. So she's also the founder of Rare Beauty, which is like a makeup brand. That company is valued at $2 billion. She owns 50% of the company. So yeah, as I said, like that gave her most of her wealth. I think it's about 81% of her wealth comes to that company, really showcasing that talent shouldn't be focusing on brand deals or whatsoever. They should be building companies, because that's like going to be the most rewarding part. Then when it comes to Serendipity Frozen, which is an ice cream brand. So Serendipity is like an iconic restaurant in New York City. They have 2 locations, and they're known for like these over-the-top desserts. Very Instagrammable. And what is funny is that Selena Gomez was a regular customer. So she used to go there all the time, and every time she was there, she started to post about it just in an organic way. Even if like she would just walk in randomly without like telling everyone that she would come in or whatever. So she already had a relationship with Serendipity, and Serendipity was then thinking about how can we expand our brand beyond just the restaurants that we have. Can we, for example, compete with the Ben & Jerry's of this world by putting a product into supermarkets that people can actually buy on a daily basis? So they were like, hey, let's do this, but let's find someone who can really help us accelerate the growth of this company. So naturally, they were thinking, maybe we should reach out to Selena Gomez, because she has a massive audience, she loves our ice creams, and she already has been talking about it online. So it could be like a natural integration in the content. So they reached out to her and they're like, hey, shall we do like a ice cream brand together? And Selena Gomez was like, hell yeah, like I love your ice cream, so we'd love to get behind this. And that's kind of how that got about. And what is also interesting about this is that they also attached the Rare Impact Fund, which is Selena Gomez, a non-profit focused on mental health, to this. So every time you eat ice cream, you're also like donating to mental health. And that is like a certain advantage that they have also over like a Ben & Jerry or a Magnum or whatever.
And where do you guys come in this scenario?
Yeah, if you are launching such a company and you want to get into retail, you need capital. So we are basically investors in these companies. So whenever like celebrities and creators, they have like an ID, they still need a lot of money to like execute on the company. So they get to us and are like, hey, would you be like interested in investing in our company? So we own a little stake in the company in exchange for that money.
How much do you invest in those deals in general?
Yeah, so we are a $10 million fund, and we invest up to $500,000 in these companies.
Can you talk about any success stories you've had where you've had a return on investment with a creator?
Oh yeah, 100%. So
Nice.
together with our team, like we've been involved in 55 celebrity founded brands, all the way in of like investing in companies of people like a Jake Paul, a DJ Khaled, a Selena Gomez, to like structuring these types of deals where we help structure like an equity deal between a startup and a celebrity or creator, basically allowing this creator to earn equity in the companies they help grow. But our team has also been involved in co-founding some of the most successful celebrity founded brands. So one of my team members, he co-founded Feastables, the chocolate bar company, together with Mr. Beast, which is doing like $300 million in revenue in year 3 of the business. So it's one of the fastest growing consumer brands ever. It's like insane to think about. Another one of my team members, he co-founded the Honest Company together with Jessica Alba, which IPO'd in 2021 for a 1.4 billion valuation. So we have literally been involved in like 2 of the most successful celebrity founded brands, and our goal beyond just investing in these companies is sharing our learnings, working together with these celebrities and creators, and turning their brands in billion-dollar companies and hopefully replicating the same successes for our portfolio companies.
But how does this like crazy star-studded group comes about together? Like, what's the origin story of you?
Yeah, so it's interesting because my background definitely has nothing to do with like celebrity or creator economy or whatsoever. I've always been a startup founder, so I had my own companies. I even sold like a company in 2018. Then I started to work with the Dutch government, living in San Francisco, helping European startups move from Europe to Silicon Valley. And through that whole process, I was working always like very high innovative tech companies, like very interesting companies. And this was around 2019 when I saw like also this first wave of celebrities and creators launching their own brands. And I was always frustrated that the best thing that they were able to come up with was like another tequila brand or another beauty brand or like an apparel company, often like very like superb products in oversaturated markets where they were just like white labeling stuff, slapping their name on it, and then selling it for 2 times the price. And I never understood why they weren't using their platform to actually support companies that are better for human and planetary health and really focus on the innovation part of it. So I'm originally Dutch. So I started to reach out to a couple of these Dutch celebrities and creators, asking them like, hey, would you be interested in launching your own company? And to my surprise, not a lot of them were thinking about it. And if they were thinking about it, they also wanted to launch their own tequila brand or whatsoever. So I was like, showcasing them a couple of the tech companies that I was working with and asking them like, hey, would you be interested in doing an equity deal with a company like this? And they were like, wait, is that possible? I was like, yeah, because then you can just focus on what you do best, and that is creating content, while the company does what they do best, and that's operating the brand. So everyone can just focus like on a win-win partnership. And they were like, yeah, we'd love to do it, but we need help. So can you help us advise us? So I started to advise a couple of these Dutch celebrities doing these types of equity deals. And that then quickly expanded to the United States. Nowadays, what we do is like 100% US based. And through that work, I started to build like a lot of working relationships with these celebrities and creators who then, you build trust, you showcase that you can add value to them. And then they all of a sudden also started to invite me to become like an angel investor in their company. Then I also started to create a lot of content online about like new creator founded brands, what works, what doesn't work, new funding rounds, all that type of stuff, which has helped me to build an audience. And then all of a sudden, because I was like writing like small tickets into these companies, like often like between 5 and 25K, which is still a lot of money, but in comparison with the millions of dollars, like you just mentioned, Better raised more than $100 million. My 25K ticket is not going to make a difference there. But they wanted me on board because I was able to add extra value. So what was interesting was that I started to build my own audience online on LinkedIn. I have about like 20K followers, and my content did 10 million views in the last year. But what is great about it, it's like all professionals, right? It's CEOs, investors, like founders, that type of stuff that see my content. And then all of a sudden, a lot of like investors started to reach out to me, and they said like, hey, Scott, I have money, but I don't have access to these deals. is there basically a way that I can co-invest with you? And that's kind of how the fund got started, where I'm
Oh,
like now
wow.
managing other people's money, investing that in brands founded by celebrities and creators. So instead of writing like 5 to 25K tickets, I can now write 500K tickets. And hopefully in the future, you can write millions of dollars of tickets. And then through that process, I also got in touch with like people like Ben Acott, the co-founder of Feastables, or Christopher Gavigan, the co-founder of The Honest Company, where we just connected and we were like, hey, would love to hear your story about how you did this with Mr. Beast. And we jumped on a call, we built a relationship, and I was like, hey, would you like to be part of this fund, basically supporting other celebrities and creators, replicating the same successes of Mr. Beast and Jessica Alba? And they were like, hell yeah, we'd love to join you on this mission because I have a deep expertise in the space. And what is also cool about it is that both Ben as well as Christopher are now thinking about launching a new brand again together with a celebrity. So they're kind of wanting to replicate that whole playbook that they executed in the past.
I mean, the potential's all there, so why not get into
Yeah.
it? Basically, all this started because you created content. If you didn't post those content, text, and video, this fund would not have started.
I think so, yeah. Like what was interesting was that when I started this in 2020, like talking about equity deals and that creators should do like have their own brands, that was very new. Not a lot of people were thinking about it. So, and if they were thinking about it, they just had no idea where to get started, right? Like nowadays it's more common, but back then it wasn't common. So I kind of had to educate the whole space about how it works. Because if you reach out to a creator, like starting your own company sounds very cool. But if you then have to start talking about raising capital, Series A funding, dilution, pro rata rights, they're like, Scott, you're speaking Chinese to me. Like, can you break it down in like Mickey Mouse language? Because I have no idea what you just said. So you needed. I started to produce content to educate the space, which then kind of positioned me as a thought leader on this topic. And what is cool about it is that now every time celebrities and creators and their teams are thinking about launching their own brands, I'm often one of the first people that they reach out to because they saw my content in the past and are like, oh, we should talk to Scott about this.
And that's why we built oneof10.com, a tool that helps creators like you do the same but 100 times easier. The tool helps you find viral video ideas already working in your niche. It then analyzes the millions of outliers in the database to help you generate your titles and thumbnails that match your channel. For example, it can create thumbnails in the style of Beluga or even create variations of thumbnails from just a title. And this works in any niche. No more wasting hours brainstorming concepts and designing on Canva. And one creator even used one of 10 to combine a viral idea with a high-performing thumbnail concept. The result? Her most viewed video ever with over 2 million views. And the best part, with code POD20 you'll get 20% off for life. So if you want to grow your channel faster, join thousands of YouTubers and head over to oneof10.com. Now back to the pod. So with all that experience, how do you usually structure a deal between a creator and a company?
Yeah, so there's no one size fits all. Every deal is a little bit different. I've literally seen deals where like a celebrity or creator has like a 0.5% equity stake. But I've also seen instances where like a celebrity has like 80% equity stake. So there's like multiple factors that you have to take into consideration. Did they, for example, come up with the idea themselves and are building it from the ground up, or did they join later? So you have to look at the stage of the company. A company that is already generating millions of dollars in revenue, they probably have to give away a smaller equity stake than a company that is just getting started. It also talks about the role of the celebrity. Do you want someone to really lean in the way like Kim Kardashian is with Skims, or like Logan Paul is with Prime, or Emma Chamberlain is doing with Chamberlain Coffee? Or do you rather have someone who's like more on the background opening doors for you? So it talks about the role. It talks about the celebrity. So are you working together with Mr. Beast, or are you working together with an influencer that has like 1 million subscribers and is still doing well? But you probably have to give, or like probably you can take away the probably you have to give away more equity to Mr. Beast than to that influencer. So there's a lot of factors that you have to take into consideration. I do have to say that we have analyzed, we have looked at the 55 celebrity founder brands that we have been involved in, as well as in looking at all the successes and failures to kind of build our own internal framework on how to assess the potential success of the next generation of these types of companies. And kind of have our own internal framework. And one of the criteria is also like the celebrity ownership stake. We have seen a direct correlation between the success of these companies and the equity stakes that they have. So if you look at Prime, Skims, Fenty, Feastables, all these celebrities have at least like a double digits equity stake. So we are a fan of like celebrities and creators owning between like 10 and 30%, I would say. That's kind of the sweet spot that we're always looking for. But yeah, we have literally seen it all.
Tell me more about that framework. Give us the playbook. What else? What are the criteria?
So I would say there's 5 criteria, which are the most important ones. So the first one is kind of that the celebrity founder brands always need to have a product first approach and not a celebrity first approach. And that's because the celebrity might help you sell the first product, but the quality of the product is going to determine if people are going to buy a second, third, and fourth product. So that means is that your product should always be like on par or actually exceeding the quality of someone else's product. So it really should be like solving a customer problem. So that's really important for us. Like we rather invest in a company that is supported by a celebrity than dependent on. A second one is the celebrity product market fit or creative product market fit, as we have defined it. So that basically means is that the brand that the celebrity or creator is launching should fit his or her persona, content, and audience. So let me illustrate this with a bad and a good example. I will start with the bad example. So there's a model called Emirata. Her full name is Emily Radziskowski. She's a beautiful looking woman. She often creates content also in swimwear, female swimwear, and it helped her to gain more than 30 million views. So initially you would think, oh, maybe she should launch her own female swimwear line. And so she did. So she launched Inamorata, which is like a female swimwear line. And the brand never really took off. Why? Because most of her audience, most of her followers are males. And males are following her for a different reason than buying female swimwear. So you see that although initially you would think, oh, that's a great fit, there's actually a mismatch between the audience and what she's offering. Then let's go to the good example. So there's an influencer called Dani Austin. She's like a lifestyle content creator. She has like 2 million followers across social media. She has been like sharing her whole life, like about her whole like beauty routines to like her family, all that stuff. And then like a couple years into her journey, she started to experience hair loss. And it got to a point where she had like a lot of bald spots in her hair. And then she was a little bit afraid to be in front of the camera. So she was like, hey, let me actually stop content creating for a while. But then like after a month, she was like, hey, why am I actually insecure? Let me share this as well, because my followers have been with me for the last couple of years, so I can be open about this as well. So she started to talk about her hair loss journey and also did like wig reviews and that type of stuff. And tens of thousands of women started to like comment. It's like, thank you so much for being open about this. You're literally the first influencer ever to talk about the things like going wrong in your life and not just talking about all the precious things and the beautiful things. And then she was like, hey, can I actually go one step further? So for 12 months, she started to work with like an R&D team to develop a hair serum called DV Hair, which helps you to avoid hair loss. Within the first year, that company did $40 million in sales. In the second year, that company did $55 million in sales. So even though she only had 2 million subscribers and Emirata had 30 million subscribers, Dani Austin was much more successful because there was that creative product market fit. So whenever we're analyzing these companies, we're never looking at audience size or whatsoever. And a lot of people make the mistake. They're just aiming for the largest celebrity possible. But you always have to kind of find that unique, authentic fit. So we do a lot of research into who's the creator, what is their audience, like what do they like, what have they purchased in the past, what is the engagement rate, like how big is the market size, where are the competitors, is the market size growing, that type of stuff. Then the third one is talking about the third criteria that we have is the celebrity ownership, what I just referred to, like the connection between the equity stake and the skin in the game that the celebrity has and them wanting to lean in. Then the fourth one is team. So it's always great that you have a big celebrity on board, but that person is probably not gonna be like operating the brand on a day-to-day basis. Like if you're working together with an actor, that person has to shoot a movie in Hollywood and will be out of the office for a month. So you need a team of like co-founders and operators who have like experience in starting and scaling brands and can really lead that day-to-day business for you. So I would say those are the 4 main criteria that we have and we typically look for.
Curious on that end, like what kind of expectations are usually required for the creator, both on the creator and on the brand side? I'm curious.
Also here, there's no standard. It depends a little bit. It depends on what is the starting point, but there's always a certain contract in place with like the celebrity has to do the minimum requirements. And the minimum requirements are often talking about how many times they have to post about it, how many times they have to get in a podcast, how many times they do XYZ. A lot of people forget is that whenever you're onboarding a celebrity and creator, you're not only onboarding them for the built-in audience that they have and the product placement that you can do, but these celebrities and creators, they can also leverage their platform and their network to basically open doors that you typically cannot. So they can help you get into retail. They can help you with PR, like journalists love to cover news about celebrities. They can help you with fundraising because they have a lot of like influential and high net worth individual people in their network. They can help you onboard other influencers and creators. There's this famous story about like Ring, the doorbell company. You're probably familiar with that. So they wanted to work together with like the local law enforcement. So Jamie, the founder, he started to reach out to the police and no one really answered to him. Then he onboarded Shaquille O'Neal, the basketball player, as an investor. And Jamie was telling Shaq, like, hey, we want to work together with these law enforcement, but they are like not really responsive. Shaq picked up the phone, started to call them, and within like 30 minutes, he had like a meeting with the head of like the security department. And that's because these people were like, oh, Shaquille O'Neal is calling, I'm definitely going to pick up and have that conversation. And that's how they started to work together with these folks. So we always want kind of these celebrities to really go above and beyond to make this a success. And that's also why we always want to sit down with them and ask them like, hey, what is your motivation for wanting to make this company a success? To really find out, is there like an internal passion for them, or is this more like something that they do on the side? Like we really want them to wanting to lean in and make this a success. So there's definitely a contract in place. We talked about how many times they'll have to go in store to do an activation, how many times they have to do this, how many other people they have to onboard, and that type of stuff. So that would kind of be the expectations that you have.
Okay, so those requirements are there. Like he has to post X amount of time per month and that type of.
Yeah, oftentimes, yeah, because it's so risky for us also to say like, because this is funny. Like sometimes we are being approached and it's like, oh, we are celebrity backed and you should invest in our company. And I'm like, oh, cool, this celebrity is involved. And then you look on the cap table. So the cap table is basically how ownership is divided in a company. And then you see that a certain celebrity put in like a 5K check all the way in the beginning because they're just friends or whatsoever. But that person is not really involved. But they still like advertise themselves as this celebrity backed brand. So we always really do a lot of due diligence as in, okay, how involved is this celebrity actually, or is it just a friend that wants to support you, but they're not gonna leverage their platform to actually grow the company or whatever?
And in those deals, what kind of big mistakes you've seen being done?
I think that a lot of startup founders, they don't do enough due diligence on the celebrity. So oftentimes they can also get a little bit starstruck. Let's say throughout their own network, they're able to get in touch with a certain celebrity who has like 20 million followers. Like initially they weren't thinking about that celebrity. And like if you just like be very like objective, you wouldn't say that's the right person. But then they have a great meeting with that person and then they kind of are like a little bit starstruck and are like, oh, this is a great opportunity. Even if like 5% of his or her audience is gonna convert, we're gonna have like $1 million business like instantly. So let's just work together. And then what they do is that we call this dating before you get married, which is really important. Like they don't do that. They immediately go to marriage. So they immediately give this person 20% of their company. Then that celebrity start to talk about it 1 or 2 times. And it doesn't do anything in sales. Now you have a disappointing founder, who then also is like a little bit frustrated with the celebrity, who then is also disappointed and not very like motivated to keep on talking about it. But now you have a celebrity on the cap table with a 20% equity stake, and it's really hard to get rid of them. It's almost impossible. So what we always say is try to date before you get married. Can you get to know that person for 6 months? Can you, for example, first do like an affiliate deal or like a rev share or like pay that person for like a discounted price just to start building the relationship, to see if you guys like working together, to see if that person is able to drive value for your company. That's really important. And also the other way around. It's like also for the celebrity or creator, you want to see if this company can actually execute on the things that they say they can do. So you have to see like 6 months of how they're actually working, what can they achieve, to really see if you want to attach yourself to that specific person.
Are there any contingencies in the contracts for in case the creator doesn't do what he says, or like what should be in there to protect the brand and also to protect the creator?
Yeah, so there's things in place such as a vesting schedule. So you can still agree on like a 20% equity stake, but that 20% equity stake is divided by like 4 years. So, and based on deliverables. So let's say in the first year, if you do certain deliverables, if you do certain personal appearances, some even tie it to revenue goals. So like if you are able to bring in this revenue, your equity is unlocked. So in the first year, 5% equity is unlocked. In the second year, 10% equity is unlocked. And that protects a startup to say like, hey, after 1 year, like things aren't going well, or you're not leaning in the way you actually promised to lean in. So let's actually end the contract, and then you can kind of remain that other 15% of your equity. So there's like a lot of mechanics that you can put in place. You can also have like buyback clauses. So you give a creator or celebrity equity, but if certain milestones are not achieved, the startup can buy back the equity for a certain percentage or whatsoever. So there's definitely a lot of stuff that you can put into place. Also from like a celebrity point of view, like a celebrity can also put in like a minimum guarantee. It's like, hey, I'm going to do all this work, and if it's not translating to anything, I still want to get paid this minimum guarantee of X amount or whatsoever.
Is that a common thing, the last one?
I have a love-hate relationship with this, because like a lot of talent managers, this is an interesting topic, I think, but a lot of talent management agencies, their business model is based on a 20% commission they get over the income of their clients. And if a client is taking equity, they're not getting get paid in the interim, right?
Right.
So, but they have costs. They need to pay their employees, they have to pay rent, they have to pay utilities. So they're naturally forced to focus on cash deals over equity deals. So whenever I reach out to a lot of these talent management agencies and I propose like to do an equity deal with their client, they're like, yeah, we are interested in an equity deal, but we also need a minimum guarantee of $1 million. I'm like, no early stage startup has like $1 million laying around. We that's just too much risk for a startup to take on. And they're like, yeah, well, Nike is paying us $1 million, or like Gymshark is paying us $1 million. So we can also just take that deal. And I'm like, yeah, but then you don't have equity in that company. But they're like, yeah, well, we don't really care about the equity. And luckily things are changing in the industry. Like you are getting like management agencies who have their own venture teams or whatsoever. But it's still like this dance that you have to do to kind of like meet in the middle. Like, okay, instead of $1 million guarantee, can you go to like 100K minimum guarantee or whatsoever, to put it into place. So I'm not a fan of it. I think it's always better if the incentives are completely aligned, where it's just an equity deal only. But I also understand that the creator, they have to put like, they have to pay their rent as well. So it's also good for them to get some initial cash coming in while they're like growing their equity value as well.
Why do you think the market is changing so much? Is it because of all those success stories, or what's going on?
After seeing the successes of like George Clooney selling his company for $1 billion, Ryan Reynolds doing it twice with Aviation Gin for $610 million, and then also Mint Mobile sold it to T-Mobile for $1.35 billion, and so many other success stories, like Skims is now worth $4 billion. So many other celebrities and creators are like, oh, we have to do that as well. The thing is that obviously for every Skims, Fenty or Prime, there's like hundreds of failures. But I think there's kind of this gold rush now of like, hey, we should build our own companies and we should have control, because why should we like make another company successful if we can make our own company successful as well and keep all the profits?
You said hundreds have failed. What do you think is the common variable in all of these that makes them fail?
Yeah, so they're not focusing on solving a problem. A lot of times it's like, oh, we should also launch our own tequila brand because they were successful and we have a similar audience, so we can achieve the similar results. Well, that's not how business works. Like, we like to invest in companies or celebrities and creators that solve actual customer problems and that are like launching innovative products and services that have a certain edge around product, IP, science, or technology even. So I think there's also a lot of bad actors in the space. They reach out to like a celebrity and are like, oh, I can launch your own like vodka brand in 2 weeks and we can just white label it. And that sounds very cool, right? It's like, yeah, we should do that. And then these celebrities and creators, they're just jumping the gun and like get into bed with someone without actually performing due diligence and looking at the quality of the product, finding out where it's sourced, what are the problems, like what could be potential hiccups. So I think a lot of people just jump to the gun, and they're like, oh yeah, let's just do it initially. And I think team. So I rather invest in a shitty idea with a great team than like the best idea but with a shitty team, because the shitty team is the shitty idea with the great team. They're gonna turn it around. They're gonna figure it out.
Right.
So in the end, it's also about the team. Like, do you have the right team players to really execute on it? I always say is finding a co-founder is harder than marriage, because you
Yeah.
have to work together with this person for 60 hours a week for 5 to 10 years. So yeah, I think creators and celebrities should think more about where are gaps in the market, where can we add value, is our product like innovative enough, does it solve an actual customer problem, and do we have the right team to operate on it?
What do you think makes a great team?
That's a good question. I don't think we have like really determined it. We are more looking at experiences. So like, there's a new like SaaS business now founded by Glenn Powell, the actor. But he is partnering up with one of the co-founders of the Honest Company, not the person that's on my team. And
Yeah.
he's also partnering up with one of the co-founder of Jinx, which is like a pet food brand. They raised more than $50 million, and they're like in 5,000 retail stores. Their revenue is exploding. So Glenn Powell found two people who have one successfully launched like brands, also really focused on the better for you angle. Like one also launched it with like a celebrity. So he's like finding the right team and really thinking about, okay, what is their experiences in the past and can they replicate that? So I would say it's more about like industry experience and expertise that they have. That is what I would say makes a great team.
Okay, so a great team is super important, but also the brand part, right? Is there a certain type of brand you're more likely to bet on, to invest on?
We are sector agnostic, so we literally look at all types of companies. Like as I just mentioned, we're like probably not gonna invest in the next tequila brand or whatsoever. We're
Right.
really looking for celebrities and creators launching innovative products and services that solve like a customer problem, that also have like an edge around tech or science or IP. What is super excited is that we are kind of now entering a second wave of these creator and celebrity founded brands that also could like, they're launching like patented products or they're launching AI companies. We just wrote an investment to an AI company co-founded by like an Instagram influencer, which is just so cool to think about. So yeah, we are always looking for these innovative approaches and not just like another tequila brand or whatsoever, but we are sector agnostic as long as there's that authentic creative product market fit.
Any creator market product fit that you were impressed from a big celebrity that you saw they launch and you're like, wow, that was impressive and it makes sense when you think about it, but you would not have thought about it initially?
So there's a new company called Retrogate, which is very interesting. So you're probably gonna love this. So there's this UK influencer. She's called Grace Beverly. And in the past, she already launched like Tala, which is like an active wear company. She raised more than £5 million for it as well. It's very successful in the UK. I think she launched like another productivity agenda or whatsoever. So she's very entrepreneurial, which is great. But she now kind of wanted to go into her next venture, which is called Retrogate. And basically what it is, it's an AI talent manager. So they have trained their like an AI to help you do brand deals. So instead of working together with a talent manager who's taking 20% cut of you, basically that AI, like you have your own email address. So let's say it's like Scott at blah 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 .com, which is my like brands reach out to me if they want to work together with me. Then the AI is basically gonna have a conversation with the brand. Say, hey, these are my terms if you want to do like a 90-second integration, or you want to make like a dedicated post, or you want to have like just like 5 times a 30-second integration. And then like the company can send like a contract, and the AI will review that whole contract and that type of stuff. So it's basically an AI that is helping influencers do brand deals. And instead of having to pay 20% to talent management agencies, the AI is taking a 10% cut. But they can do it a lot more efficiently. Because there's no manual labor. They've trained this whole AI to do it. And I think this is the cool thing about this whole industry. Like, they're not launching like only apparel beauty companies anymore, but they're launching tech companies. And already on day one, like thousands of influencers signed up to do this. And probably this is not going to be a fit for someone like a Mr. Beast, but you have this whole middle class of influencers that have like between 10 and 500K followers. For them, this is a great solution because that 20% that they normally have to give away to management agencies, that's a lot of money for them that they can now reinvest in their business to grow faster. What's also cool about this is that the company is founded alongside Jake. Jake, he scaled the company. Like he was one of the first to do creator financing. So one of the big problems in the creator economy is that creators are often paid in 90 days. So they shoot content, they do a brand deal, but they only get the money in 90 days. So he created a solution that creators could send their invoice and they get paid in instances, and they have to pay a small commission, and then like Jake is inning that from the brand in 90 days. So it allowed creators to get paid a lot faster. He scaled that company in like 9 months and sold it for like 8-figure amount to like Wayflyer. So he knows everything about building companies for the whole creator economy. So now you have like a creator, Grace, who has like been very entrepreneurial and teaching like this next generation of creators and celebrities that they should build their own companies with someone who has experience in building tools for the whole creator economy. They partner up and they come up with a great solution. So like I would have never thought about like an AI talent management agency. But they're building it, so that is definitely something that really surprised me lately.
Yeah. That's a great success story. One that I saw recently, I think a month ago, was Sour Strips. So Sour Strips got sold by Max Tuning.
$80 million.
Exactly, yeah.
And he owned 100% of it.
Oh, he owned 100% of it? That I did not know. Holy shit.
That's such an interesting story because you have a fitness influencer, Max Tuning. He only has 200K followers. So
exactly.
And his content is dedicated to fitness. So Candy is not necessarily like a product that you think is a good fit. What has been interesting about Max is that even though he's a fitness content creator, he has always talked about his kind of guilty pleasure of candy. So he was still eating candy and talking to his audience like, I know it's bad, but I just love it so much. So what he did was just creating a better candy line, like which has like less sugar and that type of stuff. So although I wouldn't have said that this is like the perfect creator product market fit.
Yeah.
His audience is more dedicated to fitness. It was still so successful. So yeah, good job to him. Like $80 million, owned 100% of the company, and he never has to work a day in his life anymore.
And what do you think about Joyride? Because I think I saw Joyride is getting more sold than Sour Strips in Target or somewhere. And so that means that's leading Joyride from Ryan Trahan to become like crazy amount of valuation. Have you looked into that one? What do you think? And before getting into that, let me tell you about how the 1 of 10 strategy team can help you grow your channel much faster and make more money. Our team has directly worked with over 100 YouTubers to grow their channels by optimizing their content, focusing on the right strategies. So for example, here's a video idea, title, and thumbnail that we crafted for Mike Shake that ended up getting 22 million views and being his most popular video of all time. Another example is the content strategy we built for Callaway, helping him go from 0 to 70,000 subscribers and grow a 6-figure business on top of that. And those are only just 2 of many creators the team has worked with in the past 6 years. So if you're ready to take your channel to the next level in the next 90 days with daily support, video reviews, winning ideas, titles, and thumbnails, and even 2 calls per month to answer all your questions, head over to oneofthen.com/strategy to book a call.
I haven't, but what is interesting about Joyride is Joyride already existed before Ryan Trahan came on board. So it was a company, but it was not really taking off. And then Ryan Trahan saw the company, and he loved the product, and he just reached out and said, hey, can I like buy the majority of your company? And these people are like, sure. And then he came on board, and then it really took off. And they're now like the second most sold candy brand in Target or something like that. So they're going to destroy the numbers that Sour Strips did. But I don't know like enough about the whole backstory whatsoever. I just think it's interesting because it was this brand that wasn't really like taking off. And then like they were like looking, what should we do with the brand? And then like an influencer came on board and it exploded.
What do you think about CPG versus tech brands to start off for creators?
Both have advantages and disadvantages. It's often easier to integrate like a CPG product because you can drink it, eat it. It's like a little bit more cool. So it's easier to integrate, but the margins are a lot lower. It's very capital intensive. So you need millions of dollars to get into retail and you need a real team behind it. So it's just really, really hard. For every like Prime and even Prime is struggling a lot right now. But for every one of those,
What do you mean?
in the first year, that brand did $250 million in sales. Then it now, like in the second year, it did $1.2 billion in sales. And it was literally everywhere. They had like shelves in Walmart with like 20 products. But then like it's now not really selling. So now they only have like one or two SKUs. So people are just not buying it anymore because they don't enjoy the product. This is the classic example of not focusing on product quality and just really heavily relying on like a specific influencer or celebrity to promote it. So I don't know the numbers. I think what's funny is that
Yeah.
in the beginning they were already like always sharing the numbers because they were like scaling. And now for like a year they haven't posted anything about numbers. Why? Because probably it's decreasing a lot. So I don't know the
Indeed.
exact numbers, but that showcased me that they're probably like doing again like 250, $300 million, which is still insane, obviously, but it's a
Right.
lot lower than 1.2 million initially. But yeah, like retail with CPG is just very hard. And what is cool about tech is that tech has like 90% margins. And oftentimes marketing is their biggest cost. If you look at a VPN network, for example,
Right.
VPN is like a 99% margin product. So
Yeah.
if you can build your own VPN and you can take away the
Then
marketing cost, that's why you see NordVPN, ExpressVPN, all these VPN, they're going heavily into the like working together with influencers, and that's their main cost. So if you have your own audience, you don't have to do the marketing. You can keep 99% of the cost. And what is interesting is that in the past, building your own tech company was really hard. You need millions of dollars to do that, build like a tech team. Now you have all these no or low code tools. AI can help you building tech tools. So instead of months of developing, you can literally create a tech product within hours. So it's really like lowering the barrier to enter. So if you're a fitness influencer, I think nowadays it's much more interesting to create your own fitness app than to do a supplement line. Because supplement line, the margins are a lot lower. It's like a lot harder. It's so much capital intensive. And a fitness app is like easier, high margins. You have like a subscription model, so money keeps on coming in. So yeah, I think it's just a very interesting trend, and we're gonna see this more and more and more. And then lastly, I would say the valuations are a lot higher. So if you want to sell your company, a CPG brand probably does like 2 or 3 times revenue, whereas like a tech company that can do like 20 times revenue.
right.
So yeah, if you're like a CPG brand that does $1 million in revenue, you can probably sell your company for 2 or 3 million. Whereas if you're a tech company and you do $1 million in revenue, you can sell it for $20 million. So yeah, it's also from a valuation point of view a lot more interesting to do tech.
Well, guys, you heard it. If you are a creator and want to partner up with a tech company, we're here. We're available. We want to do creator-led SaaS.
Richard can build it and we can finance it.
Let's go. I love that. Who do you think is the next creator billionaire?
I think it's gonna be the Nelk Boys. I
Ooh.
think
Okay.
like what they're doing already with Happy Dad, talking about the perfect creative product market fit.
Yeah.
Um, it's so interesting because they can also expand product ranges. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they also expand to like a vodka brand or like a beer brand or whatsoever, because it all fits under this whole umbrella. They can expand it to nicotine or whatsoever. There are like so many avenues that they can still explore expanding into. So I think that brand is gonna be the next creator billionaire. They have a huge community. They are continuing to grind. So I think that one is gonna be the next big billionaire creator.
I always thought they should do a whiskey maple syrup because Kyle is from Canada, right? And the maple syrup thing is not very common in America or a bit everywhere. But whiskey combined with that would be so sick.
Yeah, I also don't think if they ever would do that because they're obviously great buddies with Dana White, and Dana White has his own whiskey brand. So maybe they also don't want to because they promote his whiskey brand also quite a lot. So maybe they
True.
don't want to compete with him. But I agree. I think that could be a great fit.
I'm curious, who else? That was a good answer. So they did the White Claw competitor with Happy Dad, but they also did a tea, I think, recently or something.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
hard tea.
Yeah.
Disgusting, by the way, in my
Oh,
humble.
really?
Yeah, I'm a Nelk fan, so I like last time I was in the US, I tried the product and I was like, what? People drink this? But that's personal preference, right? So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, it doesn't say anything about the actual quality of the product.
That's what I thought about Prime though. Like it's too sweet and it was well really not good. Whereas
Yeah.
actually Feastables, so the first version was really bad, but now I'm actually enjoying it. I bought it in Spain recently, some
Yeah.
random shop, and it was good.
Feastables is such an interesting story because Jimmy initially came out with the proposition of a better for you chocolate brand. So the
Yeah.
products were focused on less ingredients, less sugar, and then indeed people didn't enjoy the chocolate bar. So Mr. Beast obviously helped people buy a first product, but the quality kind of forced people to stop buying a second, third, or fourth. Then they changed the proposition to just a regular chocolate bar, but now sourcing from like child-free, child
Exactly. Yeah.
labor-free, like cacao farms. So they basically have the same chocolate bar in quality, but it's a different
Yeah.
proposition. They also like in this 3 year window, they had like 3 CEOs because they
Oh, I
needed
didn't
new
know that.
leadership to kind of fit with the value proposition. So it was really interesting to see that even like the largest content creator is also searching where his creative product market
Mm.
fit is. And to be honest, I don't even think that chocolate is the best fit with him. But to be honest, yeah, if you're Mr. Beast, like literally everything you would touch would be
Yeah.
successful. Mr. Beast also shared like an interesting thing with Beast Burger regarding this because like, we all know that he launched Beast Burger and he initially had a lot of vegan items on the menu. And then no one was buying those vegan items. And then a lot of people were like criticizing him and saying like, oh, you have this massive platform. You should actually like educate people about the meat industry and that type of stuff. And then he literally replied with, I tried, but those were like the worst selling items. So maybe people aren't interested in like less sugar and like less
Hmm.
sweet and better for you products. Maybe they just want to eat junk food we have been doing for all those years.
What do you think of Lunchly? Controversial,
I haven't tried it.
but the business move of it.
I do think it's smart if you combine the power of Prime and Feastables together. Like that's a massive firepower. So now you have these big conglomerates partnering together. I haven't tried the product, but it doesn't really look appealing to me. If I was a little kid, like that is not what I want to eat with lunch. But I have also haven't seen numbers or whatsoever, so it's kind of hard to judge.
They would say numbers though if it was crushing.
I think so too. Yeah.
Any other creator you think will become a billionaire?
I think many. The exciting thing is that we probably don't know, but in 2 years' time, creators can build billion-dollar empires. Like they can leverage their built-in audience to basically promote their product for free, and that is something that traditional brands have to pay millions of dollars for. And they can basically compete with these legacy brands in a matter of years. So Prime gave Gatorade a run for their money within 2 years' time. They were doing
True.
$1.2 billion in sales. So the cool thing is that a creator, even listening to this, can literally start a tech company, another company, and create like $1 billion valuation in just a matter of years. Like Better, for example, is like already like getting there closely to that $1 billion valuation, even though the company was like 3 years, founded 3 years ago only. So just like an acceleration. We're probably like the moment like this is gonna be aired, there's already like a new celebrity who's like doing very successful with his or her own company.
One last creator I want to talk about is I Show Speed, right? We're seeing insane motion from him. What do you think? What's his move? He could become the youngest billionaire in the world, I think. But go ahead.
I think maybe you shouldn't be focusing on building his own company yet. Maybe you should just focus on doing much more content right now because it's helping him like build his audience. Because the moment you're like becoming an entrepreneur, being an entrepreneur and being a content creator are two different things. Because if you're an entrepreneur, you have to take care of a lot of other things, which is taking time away from you creating content and also will probably lower the quality of your content. So maybe you should postpone it as well. But if you're thinking about what could be a good product for him, like let's break it down. Like what do we know Speed for? So it's like streaming. It's like this personality, the rage. It's football. It's like the shoes that he's always wearing. So could he, for example, launch his own like shoe brand, or could he create like rage rooms where like people can just break a bunch of stuff and bark at things or whatever. You also have to look at his audience. It's like his audience is global. So if you're thinking about a rage room, that is going to be so hard to scale because then you need to create like these physical locations all over the world. So can you maybe do something virtual as well? He plays a lot of Fortnite and FIFA and streams that. Can he create his own game? Can he like build like something in Roblox or whatever, like the world of Speed? Can he does like launch like an energy drink called like Speed Mode? whenever you drink it or whatsoever. So and then you get the same energy that he has. So like
Those are
these are
good,
like
man.
some initial thoughts that I have. Like he's obviously big into football. Can he just do something with that as well? Um, but like in the end, it all comes back also to his passion. Like what is he passionate about? What does he wants to lean in on? And yeah, where does he see the most potential?
Said a lot about football. I want to pitch you an idea for him, and I want you to roast it. Cause yeah, basically I was playing with my nephew with this, and I was like, that could be cool. So basically, so this, you know this, right? You've seen those. So it's a plushie, but what I'm seeing for speed is like a soccer ball, right? Like something that you can like, because some plushies are too strong, so like it would hurt. But this, you can kick it super strong, like a 5-year-old kid, and won't hurt, right? So you can play around with the kid and stuff. But basically, it's like a soccer ball with like his face, speed, but like in cartoon style, where he does, you know, his style like this, like that, like big teeth and all that. And me, what I'm thinking is like, you know, like the OK Pop, the U2s, where it's like a continuous brand. Imagine that style, but then that can be replicated in all kinds of different styles. Like imagine, you know, Beast, KSI, Marvel, whatever it is. Like imagine it becomes that thing where it's like mixed with soccer ball. So not like a plushie where it'd be mostly girls having that, but more something where you can like practice around, play around in the house, kick it in the wall, and it won't make noise. So people are playing it around, but still can like smash it, throw it around, and that type of stuff, and still have like that recognizable brand.
No, I love it. Like it's very creative. I do see some gaps. I think one, if you're thinking about the audience, I don't think that people below the age of 12 are like watching Speed. If I was a parent, I personally don't want my 5-year-old son to watch Speed and see him bark at people and like think that is normal. So I think like there's not gonna be a fit with the audience. I also personally, I'm not a fan of like building companies on like these influential faces, because eventually the goal is always to exit the company. And if you're creating like faces of like a Mr. Beast or like a Speed, then it's always going to be so dependent on them. And if those influential faces are not involved anymore, are people still going to be excited about the whole company? And then lastly, I would say the product itself is like, does Speed or does Mr. Beast want people to kick to his head? Because people
I
can
know.
think that have like a negative association. Let's say you see videos everywhere, people kicking Speed. Well, I think Speed can get over that, but I don't think Mr. Beast, KSI and Logan Paul, they have way too big ego. They don't want people to kick their head or
Right.
whatever. So also just about using the product, like would people actually like that? But like maybe you can have um, like there's like this bottle openers, and every time you open like a bottle of beer, you can hear like sounds that Speed make, like see, or like he
Right.
barks or whatever. Like can you, or like a football, and you can integrate those sounds. So let's say you score, then you hear Speed like say something he typically says or whatever.
No, I love that. I love the thought process you went through it. That all makes sense. What do you think are the biggest mistakes then you've made when investing in the wrong company?
Probably falling in love with the ID. So it's like, oh, this ID is brilliant, and like I love this celebrity, and then like you look at the team and you don't have such a good relationship with them, but you just want to get involved, and you're like, okay, let's just do it. It's great for like my reputation to be involved in this. And then like a couple months later, you get an email saying, hey, sorry, we're bankrupt or we're gonna close the company. So it's kind of falling in love with the ID and not the execution of the team.
And is there any kind of business you'd never invest in?
Ooh, it's a good question. Like, probably we're not gonna invest in like a tequila brand or whatever, as I just mentioned. Another thing that we're probably not gonna touch is like another like cryptocurrency coin or whatsoever.
Right.
I think a lot of people, luckily not me, but I think a lot of people have burned themselves there as well. So probably not those types of companies, but we are sector agnostic. We are looking at almost everything.
My last question is, do you have any advice for a creator starting their own brand? Like what it is to do and what to avoid? What are the red flags to avoid?
Yeah, so like think about it for a long time and take your time. Like talk to multiple people. Don't fall in love with someone who promise you the world and say, oh, we're gonna like do this and I can make this product for you. Like, do your due diligence, like get to know these people before you get in bed with them. Also understand that being a content creator is something different than being an entrepreneur. Like if you're an entrepreneur, you have to take meetings, you have to go to the factory, that type of stuff, which is all taking away time from you that you're normally creating content. So, and that creating content, that's the leverage for you to grow your own brand. So make sure that you find co-founders who can help you focus on what you do best, and that is creating content and integrating it, and just like do whatever you do to accelerate the company while they take care of the day-to-day business. So I think that is really important. I also think it's important to think about where do you see gaps in the market. So don't focus on another like white label product or whatsoever. Although people are selling you that it's so great because it doesn't cost a lot and you can get into market and you can make all these millions of dollars. That's not how real value is created. So you have to think about where are gaps in the market, what are problems that I can solve, what is a unique advantage that I have. And only when you have all these factors, then jump the gun. Because otherwise you're much better off doing brand deals and taking like smaller equity stakes in companies and then waiting until the right business opportunity presents itself. Because you don't want to jump to the gun right now, do something, and then in 2 years time you're not really enthusiastic about it anymore, and then you don't know what to do with it anymore. Like I think the great example are the Sidemen. So the Sidemen, they launched like a vodka brand a couple years ago, and back then it made sense for them, but nowadays they don't drink anymore. So it's so hard for them to keep on promoting it, and building a company takes time. So you also have to think about yourself, like do you see yourself wanting to authentically get behind this product for the next 7 to 10 years potentially? And that comes from purpose, from passion. So are you even passionate about this in the first place? Because it's not just about making money, it's about creating value.
No, this gives a good picture for the creator economy world. I think we're gonna see insane growth in this space in the next years, next months. It's gonna be crazy. Well, guys, you can follow Scott on LinkedIn and anywhere else.
Please, a little bit of self-promotion. Please for you to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I create a lot of content about like these types of companies, and you can also reach out to me at scott@hotstart.vc.
Well, guys, thanks again, and Scott, thanks for your time, and until next time.
Thank you for having me, man. It was a pleasure.
You can click on this video where Jordan, the manager of Sidemen, talks about creator economy.